Hello and welcome in.
Please do not leave your luggage unattended on the station.
Welcome to the show. Good morning. Welcome in. Guerilla Sports Daily. I'm back. I'm back on it. It's been a minute. And I lost my phone somehow. But it doesn't matter because we're here. Like I said, it's been a minute since I was on daily. Traveling like crazy last week. We had Thanksgiving. It's just haven't been around on the dailies, but I mean, we've had everyone just holding it down for you guys. Nate was on yesterday, giving the full rundown from the NFL slate over the weekend. We've had Liv on, we've had Jay on, Ruben. Everyone's just been doing such a great job helping out, making sure that daily goes off every single day, bringing you guys exactly what you need. So thanks for hanging out. Hope everyone's had a good long holiday week. You know, we were just talking yesterday, group of friends, saying how this year, where Christmas and New Year's fall, with being like Wednesdays and Thursdays, like this year more than most years is going to be just a joke for productivity. That week between Christmas and New Year's, it's normally pretty bad to begin with, but I think it's going to be extra this year just because. Well, you're not going to work on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and then we might as well not do anything that Friday. Then you have the whole weekend. Then what? Are you going to go back to work for a day and focus on stuff before you hit New Year's Eve and New Year's Day and that holiday? So it's basically going to be 2 weeks of just an absolute joke, nothing going on. But hey, that's what the holidays are for, right? That's what it's all about. So I hope you have all had a nice start to your holiday season here with Thanksgiving last week. But we're back in it here. Full sports slate over the weekend here in Denver. We're going to get into all of it, plus Monday Night Football last night for the Denver Broncos. What a crazy win that was. Crazy game just in general. We'll unpack all of it. Denver Nuggets back in action tonight at home, on the road for quite a bit. So they're finally back at Ball Arena. That team's looking for consistency, just like their roommates at Ball Arena, the Colorado Avalanche, looking for some consistency as well. They are also in action tonight on the East Coast, starting a 5-game trip. We'll talk about that. CU Buffs awaiting their bowl, not awaiting their bowl eligibility. Their bowl assignment is the word that we were looking for there. Waiting their bowl assignment. And then if we got a little bit of time, we'll talk a little bit more about not necessarily college football, but I don't know what got into college football teams over the weekend, but everyone brought a flag with them. And everyone was choosing violence over the weekend on not just Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There was games all over the place. And like I said, I don't know what got into the water. But let's start here with the Nuggets. Like I said, back in action tonight, back at Ball Arena. And they did finally. Look, part of the reason that this team, Liv Moods and I were talking it was Friday. It was Black Friday last week. She was doing a Nuggets post-game show, and I had jumped on to help her produce, just run some of the back-end stuff. Ended up jumping on just briefly for a moment because she had thrown an idea out there about her and I maybe doing a joint Avs and Nuggets podcast because there's just so many similarities between these two teams, not just this season, but really in the trajectory of the way that these two teams have been built leading up to their championship seasons and the way that things have kind of gone for them after. So her and I were talking that might be an interesting show because there's maybe more parallels here than we're giving a lot of credit to. And part of the reason I say that is the Nuggets have dealt with injuries for large stretches of this season, including missing Aaron Gordon for a long stretch, but he finally returned to the lineup over the weekend on Sunday in a 126-122 loss to the LA Clippers in Los Angeles. 24 minutes for Aaron Gordon, so definitely limit 10 points in those limited minutes. Just nice to get him back into the rotation. Yes, you're going to have to ramp him back up just a little bit with missing so much time, so much game time, right? But it's nice to see them get back a little bit healthy. They got the Golden State Warriors tonight in NBA Cup play, which I'm actually going to pause it right here. I'm going to stop myself right here. You guys have probably heard me talk about it if you follow any of my content. I think the NBA Cup is the dumbest thing in all of pro sports. I cannot believe it. And I'm reminded of it every time I see those stupid, brightly colored courts. Why did the NBA just decide like, oh, we're going to throw another championship in the middle of the season? This one means nothing, by the way, and you don't really get anything for it. And if you put up a banner, people are going to make fun of you, as they should. No one anywhere has explained to me why the NBA did this and why it's a good idea. Like, I know they were trying to maybe argue like, oh, more drama in season. Teams are going to want to win. Nobody cares. Nobody that actually cares about winning cares about a fake tournament in the middle of the season. Like no team that comes into a season with like legitimate NBA championship aspirations going to the NBA finals. Nobody cares about the in-season tournament. I don't understand it. I don't understand why they're doing it. I also don't understand why, if you're going to do it, why not just do it and pause the regular season and do a tournament for 10 days? Why do you mix these games in with rules that are hard to follow, seeding that doesn't make any sense, and then eventually crown a champion? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. I hate it. I wish they would stop doing it. Not because it like bothers doesn't like affect my day or anything, but just doesn't make any sense. And I don't get why you throw these extra wrenches in it. Because now it's tonight's an NBA Cup play. So this game counts for something else in addition to points in the standing, not points in the standings, but wins in the standing. It's just weird. I hate that I even have to make that denotion on saying this. But it's an NBA Cup game tonight. Denver Nuggets, Golden State Warriors. If anybody cares that it's an NBA Cup game. Like I said, up and down start to the season so far for the Denver Nuggets. 10-8 coming out of the gates here. And just looking to get that consistency. Every time it feels like the Nuggets get going a little bit and you say, okay, we're back. You run into a brutal loss like what we saw last week to the Knicks, or disappointing result against an LA Clippers team that you really feel like they should beat. Heavy favorites going into tonight. Like I said, you got Aaron Gordon back. He's got a game under his belt. You're probably going to see more minutes from him. And you got Nikola Jokic back in the lineup, who did debut his first official shoe, the Joker ones, released yesterday to a fanfare and watch party at Ball Arena. So he's back in the rotation after missing a couple games last week. Nuggets look like they are still in preseason mode. Comment here in the chat. Look, again, I keep saying there's a lot of parallels between this team and the Colorado Avalanche. Yes, two different sports. They play in the same building. They're both recent championship winners. Not that I think necessarily the Avs are playing in preseason mode, but the Avalanche, the Colorado Avalanche, who we're going to talk about in a few, have a preseason roster, which I think is leading to some saying, yeah, they look like they're in preseason mode. And that's kind of the consensus I get from our great Nuggets team at Guerilla Sports. Ruben, Liv, BK, they just say that this team is doing things, this Nuggets team are doing things that are uncharacteristic. Things that, again, you would see from them during the preseason. And it's leading to just the up and down results. They're 4 games back of first place in the Western Conference, sitting at 10-8, near the bottom of the playoff picture. They're in the playoff picture. They're above 500. But it's just not what you've come to expect from this team. And when Russell Westbrook has maybe arguably been your second best player behind Nikola Jokic, it's not trying to be a shot at Russell Westbrook, but you brought him in to be a player, a quality piece to come off your bench. When he's been your second player, yeah, it's going to give some inconsistent results. So we'll be keeping an eye on this highly anticipated NBA Cup game tonight down at Ball Arena. Nuggets, Golden State Warriors. Nuggets, like the Avs, not that you're trying to get your season back on track here. You're far from that type of conversation, but you just want to you want to get it firmly on the rails and really feel like you're starting to chug along and heading down the tracks in the right direction. That's what the Nuggets are looking for right now with every game, not just a game like tonight where they are the heavy favorites, should be able to peel off a win against the Golden State Warriors. Let's shift on over to what we saw last night, Monday Night Football for the Denver Broncos hosting the Cleveland Browns. Shelby Harris, Guerilla Sports Zone, Shelby Harris in town last night with the Browns. Now, look, has not been a great season for the Browns, but they have won some exciting games recently behind Jameis Winston, who we are absolutely going to talk about. One of my favorite athletes right now in all pro sports, Jameis Winston. But he's got this group believing. Look, there's all kinds of controversy around the Browns earlier this season with Deshaun Watson at quarterback and the results really just not being there. Frustration with things that the organization is doing, how things are being run, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Deshaun Watson goes down. Jameis Winston steps in after he had come in relief a couple of times in this season. And you could just tell a difference in the way that the Browns played football behind Jameis Winston. And since he's taken over as a starter because of Deshaun Watson injury, there's some real life to what we're seeing in the Cleveland Browns. And not only have they been able to peel off a few wins, they are taking, like, their games are entertaining again. This isn't a layup win against the Cleveland Browns like it maybe felt like it was earlier this season. So they come into town last night, and it's a cold game, Monday night game, and it was a game that the Denver Broncos needed. That was what I thought added to what felt like could potentially be a game with not a lot of drama because the Cleveland Browns are so far out of it. It felt like this is a game the Broncos need, and the Browns have a chance to play a little bit of spoiler here. And you can tell the Browns are embracing that role a bit here. We have a chance every night to go out and make a name for ourselves. I just heard our Shelby Harris talking, and someone was saying to him, the fight in this Cleveland Browns team is impressive. The fight in this Cleveland Browns team is entertaining. It's making them must watch TV every Sunday. And Shelby Harris told him, you have to. You can't quit. This is the NFL. You can't stop playing because of your record. You can't stop competing because you're not in the playoff picture. You can't just go through the motions because you're getting near the end of the season and you're on the outs. You've got to go in and battle and compete and try to win and try to earn your job, try to earn your paycheck on every snap. And that's what it looks like the Browns are doing. I don't know if that's just a change of having Jameis Winston under center, or if there is a real sense of, hey, yeah, the season didn't start the way we wanted it to, and it put us in a situation now where we can't really climb back in, but we want to prove something to ourselves, to our fans, to this organization, that, from the players on out, that this is a team that is moving in the right direction, that wants to move in the right direction. That was what it felt like we saw last night. But the Broncos do get the win, 41-32, and that win puts them firmly in a playoff spot now at 8-5, 2 wins clear of the outside of the playoff picture. So now not only are the Denver Broncos clearly, firmly in the hunt, they're kind of in control of their own destiny here. They are sitting comfortably in a playoff spot, a place nobody thought they would be. And Bo Nix, again, defying expectations, exceeding expectations with the performance last night. Not necessarily his best game of the season. Not his most detailed, most efficient game of the season, but there were a couple plays. He goes just 18 for 35, throws one touchdown. It was his career long for a touchdown, but also throws one interception. And that's, sorry, I got distracted by the comments here. It's an okay stat line. It's fine. It's not what, it's not the type of stat line that has put Bo Nix on the map this season. But what Bo Nix did do last night on Monday Night Football, was there was a key, the key drive late in the game after the Broncos had fallen behind 32-31. He described it after the game saying that his team needed a big boy drive, and that was what he went out and provided. Not only that, but it was the big play earlier in the game, 93-yard touchdown pass to Marvin Mims, Bo Nix's longest of his career. And it was a play that, look, there's been a lot of conversation around it this morning. The difference between that ball being caught and run for a 93-yard touchdown and being intercepted is a matter of inches. But look, Bo Nix found the window, hit Mims in a tight window, and that's all you remember. Yes, it's a game of inches. That's what pro sports is. Bo Nix hit the right mark, Marvin Mims runs it the rest of the way for a 93-yard touchdown. And then again, when they needed that big boy drive late in the game, that's what Bo Nix was able to provide. So while this maybe wasn't his most efficient game, wasn't his most dominant game, wasn't the game that many will remember at the end of the season, as he potentially works his way up that Rookie of the Year conversation, he again just showed flashes of why he has worked his way into that Rookie of the Year conversation, why he is one offensive Rookie of the month, of the week, multiple times. Coming up in the moments when his team needs it. You guys, again, if you follow me for Avs coverage, you hear us talk about that with goaltending. I think goaltending and quarterback have a lot of parallels between these two positions, in that if you make a mistake, it's on blast everywhere. You don't really have a lot of other people that can help bail a quarterback out of a mistake, same as a goaltender. But right. So with the Avs, we talk a lot about, you don't need your goaltender to be perfect, but you need them to make those big saves in the key moments when your team needs it. You can't expect them to be perfect. And I think that's the same thing here with Bo Nix. It wasn't a perfect game for him. You can't expect that. Not only is that just not feasible, even for the greats like Tom Brady, but this is a young player trying to find his way in the league, trying to carve out his niche, and trying to prove that he belongs at this level. So he's not going to be perfect from week to week. He's not going to be perfect within games. But if Bo Nix is continuing to show up in the moments, in the key plays that you need him, that is what you're asking for of this player. And I thought he did it again last night with those two, the late drive when the Broncos fell behind late after having a multi-possession lead, fell behind late. Bo Nix gets the ball in his hand, drives the team down. In addition to that, 93 yards earlier in the game for his career-long touchdown pass. But let's talk about the real story of this game. Jameis Winston. Like I said, this just might be the most entertaining athlete in pro sports right now. Go find, so the ESPN does the graphic at the beginning of the game. Here's the starting quarterbacks, and it's usually a 10-second ish video, maybe even a little bit longer. That they have the quarterbacks stand there. They do it probably at the beginning of the season on media days or in the lead up to some of these ESPN games. And they have them stand in front of the green screen and they just toss the ball back and forth. And they're supposed to just kind of, nod along and hold the ball up. And Jameis Winston is just dancing all over the place, making funny faces and all that. He's just great. You listen to the pregame speeches, they're great. The postgame pressers are outstanding. His quote from yesterday, I'm just praying that God delivers me from these pick sixes. He throws for 497 yards, a Cleveland Browns single game record. He also adds 4 touchdowns to go with that. Not only was his 497 yards a Browns single game record, it was 20 yards short of Tom Brady's 517, which would have been an all-time Monday night record. Jameis Winston just absolutely going off. in addition to nearly 500 yards and 4 touchdowns. Unfortunately, all of that was overshadowed by the reminder of why Jameis Winston is in the position that he's in as a quarterback. Was backing up Deshaun Watson for the Cleveland Browns coming into this year. He adds 3 interceptions on the day, 2 of which are taken to the house for pick sixes. Like I said, he's the most entertaining athlete, at least in the NFL right now. A historic performance for him. Historic. And I'm going to read this one out because I want to make sure that I get it right. Jameis Winston threw for 497 yards. The Broncos, on those 3 interceptions, returned the ball for 171 yards, making the 668 combined passing yards plus interception return yards off his passes the most by any quarterback in a single game in NFL history. The most Jameis Winston stat line of all time. The most journeyman backup stat line of all time. It's why he's stuck in the league for as long as he has. It's why he's been a guy that several teams have turned to be their starter at multiple points throughout his career. You take the good with the bad. And unfortunately, last night for the Browns, the good, as great as it was from Jameis Winston, could not outweigh the bad. And the 2 pick sixes, like he joked after the game, please God, deliver me from these pick sixes. That is what ended up costing his team the game. Not the pick sixes in particular, but that point difference. You feel for Jameis Winston because what a performance from him. And for it to end that way, just disappointing. Again, from Plasma Photography, we all knew Winston would throw a couple picks. It was just a matter of time the Broncos would capitalize, and they did. 100%. You were watching Jameis Winston ball out last night, and you were like, is this happening? Are we about to see a historic performance from Jameis Winston on Monday Night Football for a win? No, historic performance on Monday Night Football, but ended up the way that we all thought it would. Quickly, we'll talk about Jerry Jeudy. You guys probably heard me dragging this dude when he was in Denver. Never liked the attitude from Jerry Jeudy. He proved me right again last night. But hey, what a game for him. Probably the best game of Jerry Jeudy's career. And I mean that in terms of like best game he'll ever have. 9 catches for 235 yards and 1 touchdown. Being booed every time he caught the ball. But when asked about it in his locker room after the game, after they just lost, he said, yeah, it was a lot of boos, but it was a lot of catches too. This was always my problem with Jerry Jeudy. He has always been more concerned with his personal results, his individual accolades, his personal stats than he is with winning of any kind. Doesn't matter if we win or lose, as long as I look dope and can do a dance in the end zone. That's all I care about. But what a game for him. He said 9 catches, 235 yards, takes 1 to the house. There's the most receiving yards in NFL history for a player playing against his former team. So there you go. Jerry Jeudy gets his name in the record book somewhere. All he really cares about. The other side of that coin was Pat Surtain. Pat Surtain, the second. A lot of people were saying, yeah, just put PS2 on Jerry Jeudy and say, hey, anybody else on the Browns, I dare you to beat these guys. Jerry Jeudy. So here's again another one I'm going to read verbatim. I want to make sure I get it right. Jerry Jeudy and Pat Surtain lined up against each other on 34 of 57 routes. Pat Surtain allowed just 2 receptions for 20 yards on 3 targets versus Jerry Jeudy, while the rest of the team gave up 7 receptions to Jerry Jeudy for 215 yards on 10 targets. So what that tells you is when Jerry Jeudy was being covered by PS2, Jameis Winston did not look his way very often. And when he did, there really wasn't a ton there. But when Jerry Jeudy was lined up against pretty much anyone else, Jameis Winston was just taking the Broncos to the cleaners. So Pat Surtain is the individual storyline for the Denver Broncos for my money last night. Thrilling win, keeps them firmly in a playoff spot that not only would have just been a tough loss for them to absorb coming off of an interesting stretch here where they've lost some games, looking to bounce back, looking to get going back in the right direction. It would have put the playoff hopes into much more doubt for the Broncos. So big win for them to hold on to last night, despite an incredible performance from Jameis Winston. Let's head over to the East Coast, talking Avs in Buffalo tonight, taking on the Buffalo Sabres. Avs, again, the injuries just continue to pile up as they are fighting to keep their heads above water here with such a depleted roster, fighting to stay in playoff contention. They're currently sitting 2 points out, looking to get back into that playoff picture tonight in Buffalo. Casey Middlestat, who was acquired from the Buffalo Sabres last year by the Colorado Avalanche, will be making his first return visit to Buffalo. We talked to him yesterday. He said he's not really sure what to expect. Spent a lot of time there, but he said it's bittersweet because he's very happy where he's at. Wouldn't change anything about his situation or how things have gone, but did acknowledge I spent a lot of time in Buffalo, and it'll be interesting to be back there, be on the other side, be in the visiting locker room, things like that. Like I said, they're looking to get back in the playoff picture. Just running through these injuries real quick and what their current prognosis is. Jonathan Drouin, week to week, upper body. Miles Wood, month to month, upper body. Josh Manson, week to week, upper body. Ross Colton, day to day on this trip, an option for this road trip. Day to day, lower body. Oliver Shillington, week to week, upper body. And then the layup comment that everyone is making over the weekend. Gabe Landeskog, for all intents and purposes, year to year, lower body. Those are key players up and down your lineup that the Avs are without right now. Like I said, just fighting to keep their head above water. I thought something Jared Bednar told us before the team left for this road trip was really interesting. And you know what? I've actually got it queued up here. I won't tell you guys about it. I'll let Jared Bednar tell you about it.
Well, so the couple things that we talk about is, number one, we don't want to change our expectations for the way we play, how hard we work, the habits that we play with. Like, it's always a work in progress, but we want our guys to be building those details into our game for the long haul. Number two, you still have to adjust expectations of what winning tonight, tomorrow night, what it's going to look like. Like, it's not going to be perfect, but we still got to find a way to grind out wins, and we've done a decent job of that so far. I want them to kind of wear our injuries and our lineup. Not that I'm not happy with what guys are doing, but I want the whole team, like, I want the young guys to think of it like we're winning games and I'm here and I'm doing everything I can. So, like, wear it as a badge of honor. I want our veteran guys and our leaders and our top guys to wear it as a badge of honor as well. Like, you're missing a lot of key players, a lot of scoring. Wins aren't as easy to come by as what we would like them to be right now. But I want them to take a lot of pride in where we're at and what we're doing, and just, like, keep grinding away and carving out some points here on this road trip. And eventually it's got to come around. Like, I don't expect to be missing 6 guys the whole year.
Yep.
Thanks.
Keep grinding it out. And I really liked the perspective of take pride in the results that you're getting right now. There's a lot of minor league AHL players that are playing with the Avs that probably did not think they would be playing in the NHL this season. And for the veteran guys, you're driving the bus here. Take pride in the fact that you guys are missing 6 regulars out of your lineup. These are not guys that, fill in around the fringes. These are 6 guys that would be in your lineup every single night. You're playing without them. Take pride in the results that you're getting. Love that perspective. Avs looking to string a few together here to really get them moving down the right track. We'll see if they can tap into some of that magic on the road starting tonight here in Buffalo. Then rounding things out for today, guys, CU waiting on their bowl assignment. Like I said, they missed out on the Big 12 championship, which was definitely a bummer with an interesting game between Houston and BYU over the weekend. The Buffs not getting the result that they needed to go to the Big 12 championship game. So they now wait to see if they'll be heading to the Valero Alamo Bowl or the DirecTV Holiday Bowl. What a season for the Buffs. Disappointing for them to not get a Big 12 championship game. It'll end up just kind of being a cupcake bowl game, but that doesn't really matter which bowl they're going to. This is huge for the program. This is huge for the school. This is huge for the players. To come 2 seasons ago, you win 1 game. Last year, you win 4. You're nowhere close to bowl eligibility. For them to have been as close as they were to the Big 12 championship, and for them to be getting a bowl of any kind is phenomenal. You can see what it's doing for the program. With the reports that are out there that there's potentially going to be some NFL teams that would be looking to maybe add Shadur Sanders and use that to entice Prime to come to the NFL. We'll see if he's there next year, but right now they're adding big name recruits, looking like this is going to turn the Buffs into a powerhouse program. And while it may end up just kind of being a nothing bowl game, you can look at this as a potential stepping stone on their way to what could be a really fun story in the long run for what's being built at CU. And you can remember it as, oh my gosh, remember when we had to go to the DirecTV Holiday Bowl back in 2024 when all of this started? And now here we are playing the national champion. Like, that's how you're going to have to look at it. But unbelievable seasons for the Buffs. Coach Prime and company up there definitely proved a lot of folks wrong. And they now await to see where they will play this holiday season in a bowl game. Guys, that's going to do it for us here. We've got Guerilla Sports Off Ice coming up this afternoon. Myself, Megan Angley, and Chloe Thiel jumping on and joining us again today. We got a couple fun segments planned for you guys in addition to previewing tonight's game against the Buffalo Sabres. Then Megan and I will be doing same thing that we did a couple weeks ago against the Winnipeg Jets. We'll have 2 intermission shows and a post-game show live from the studio tonight. So make sure you are tuning in first and second intermission in addition to post-game. We'll be bringing it all down for you guys as it goes on here tonight. But that'll do it for me for this morning. I'm Jesse Montano. It's been Guerilla Sports Daily. Thanks so much, guys. We'll talk to you at 1:30 on Off Ice.